Yo,
What up? What up?
We going back to back. Let's go. Let's go.
No interruptions.
No. It's the first time in a minute we went back to back.
For real, man. For real, dude. And I'm pretty sure I have to go back and look at our dates, but I'm pretty sure we have completed or we're at the year 4.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we're right at.
I think we're right at.
It might be today. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
The 4-year mark. Look at us go.
So congratulations, man.
Mm-hmm.
We set out in the beginning to we just said, hey, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do it once a week. We're gonna be consistent. And I think this is episode 187 or 88, maybe.
I think I have 88.
Right. So we should hypothetically we should be at what? I guess 208.
Yeah, if we would have
around there, right? If we never skipped, right? But life happens, and we've had to skip some episodes. But yeah, man, 180, 188.
Dude, yeah, we've been pretty consistent for the most part, man. I say, like you said, life happens. Considering over the course of that's what 200 weeks, and we missed about 10% of them or less. So
yeah, pretty good, man.
It's pretty good, man. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats, man. Look at me doing this.
Because you can't commit, so.
Damn, bro.
I'm sorry.
I'm catching strays.
You know what it is, man? I just don't demand much from you.
You right. You're the longest, less needy relationship I've ever had.
Don't worry. That'll fucking be like that forever. I'll always demand less from you than anyone else in your life. You're like, this guy's nice.
This guy, he's awesome. Like, what's the secret to a friendly relationship? Like, just don't ask them.
Just don't ask me for shit. Ever. And we'll be good. Yo, welcome back, everybody, to the Carbon Footprint Podcast, episode 188, I think. He is Juan and I'm Sean, and every week we get together, have a few drinks, talk about things going on in the world, try to focus on things making an impact, whether they be good, bad, or otherwise. Hit them with the drink of the day.
Listen, man, this is part 2 drink of the day because I started with something completely different. But what we wound up with is, I'm going to just call it a chocolate Mexican because we discussed this. We're going to call it a chocolate Mexican, which is, I know you guys are sick of this, but it's a variation of an old fashioned. The birthday boy wanted an old fashioned.
If you don't like it, go to hell.
But we did switch it up though, so it isn't just your run of the mill old fashioned. We did the Coramino Grand Tequila, which is actually Kevin Hart's tequila. So shout out Kevin Hart. It's actually great, and it's an organic tequila. I don't know what that means when it comes to tequila because I thought they were all supposed to be organic, but whatever. This is organic
from plants.
Yeah, but I don't know shit about fuck. So this is Kevin Hart's thing. The tequila is phenomenal. So what we did was sort of a tequila old fashioned, but using the ounce and a half of the Gran Coramino. I did half an ounce of agave syrup. We did about 3 to 4 dashes of chocolate bitters, 1 dash of cherry bitters. Stir that up real nice. I still like to use the Bada Bing cherry, maybe a bar spoon of the syrup in there. When you stir it, and then pour in a glass with a big ball of ice, and then garnish with the Bada Bing cherry, man. And,
and the shit hits, people, and be careful with that. Like you said, that the cherry bitters, the 1 dash of that, because if you put in too much, it's not only the scent, it's the taste, everything's overwhelming.
It overtakes the flavor. Yeah, for sure. The cherry does. Like, it actually even tastes great with just the chocolate, but the 1 dash of the cherry said it gives you a nice scent when you're drinking it, and then it doesn't completely. That cherry is potent.
Oh my god,
man, it's
I think the first one you put in like 3 or 4 dashes.
Wild. And
I'm like, oh man, I smell it, I tasted everything.
It completely took over. And it's Fee Brothers is the brand of the bitters that I use for this for the cherry, man. And all of their bitters are pretty good. They're orange one, but they're all very strong, like, concentrated, potent. Okay. Like I had to learn because I'm a very much, especially with my old fashions, I'm really generous with the orange bitters and the Angostura bitters, and I do a bunch. And some of the recipes will be like 2 or 3 dashes.
Nope.
And I'm starting to realize is like maybe some of these brands though of just maybe it is 1 or 2 or you know. with stuff. But yeah, normally I with the Angostura, I go crazy.
I do at least
I'm
4
over here
or
looking like I'm
5,
breaking off my
man,
cup
on mine.
on the
Yeah,
thing.
I do the same thing. I think I learned from you.
Yeah. I love the flavor that you get from, especially with the orange and the Angostura.
Yep.
I go ham. I'm pretty generous on those though.
Dude, speaking of Kevin Hart, man, did you see the roast?
Yeah, man. What a
The roast for Tom Brady. If you guys have not seen
So
that, check
good.
it out on Netflix.
So good.
It's 3 hours. It doesn't feel like 3 hours.
No, it really doesn't.
And if you are a sports fan, if you're particularly a football fan, you will get all the jokes. Like,
yeah.
I thought the comedians they brought up there were really good. I thought even the athletes did well, including Gronk, by the way.
Yeah, he was funny, man.
Who seems to not really be like the smartest guy.
No, he was fun, man. He was so good.
And
I know they get guys to write their jokes or whatever, but you still got to time it.
You got to deliver it, bro.
You got to deliver. You got to do it. Yeah. That's why when people give like comedians crap who don't write their jokes, I'm like, man, the delivery will make or break. I don't care how good a joke sounds on paper. If you can't deliver it, it's like there's jokes Kevin Hart does that only Kevin Hart can do because of his demeanor and his presence and and his timing and all that shit. Like, okay, being a good joke writer is one thing. Being able to deliver a good joke is something.
Think about any time that you've ever heard something really funny and then tried to regurgitate it to somebody, and then you go, "I'm gonna fuck this up." Or as you're saying it, you're like, okay, it's not funny when I say
funny
it.
at all. Dude, think about some of your favorite bits of comedians if you just read that.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't hit the same.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah. So man, so yeah, shout out to those guys. Dude, I thought it was hilarious. He said it didn't feel like 3 hours. I had it on in the background while I was sort of doing stuff.
Okay.
And I found myself like pausing a lot to just like watch it, like because I got sucked in. I love the fact that, and I know this is like because it was on Netflix, they did it live initially, but more importantly, they let these guys do their own thing. The comedians, like when normally you have like a team of writers and they write all the jokes and they do stuff and they even give the comedians what they're supposed to do and yada yada, like when Comedy Central does it. And sure, like some of the comedians get to write their own stuff, but it's also kind of like vetted.
Okay.
And I like that they let these guys sort of go in. And as a comedy nerd, I like the fact that they pick comedians who don't give a fuck about the sort of being PC,
right?
And aren't necessarily household names, right? Like they pick Andrew Schultz, who we know, but Schultz is getting there, but it's not like he's you know. And Schultz goes ham. I love
and not for nothing, man. When he just sold out the Garden.
Yeah.
So you know, like you said, like he's there. But I still know a lot of people that don't know who he is.
Well, like he's there, but he's not like, you know, most people know who Kevin Hart is. Most people know,
correct.
You know, Fluffy is a household name. Like you know, I'm thinking about people like who would your mom know? You know, like and Schultz isn't that yet, but not that he isn't deserving of that or whatever. I think he's going to get there.
No, he's awesome.
But they did him. They did Tony Hinchcliffe, you know, who to me has the best show on YouTube. With
bro, I've only ever heard of him. This is the first time I've actually saw or heard him.
He's so damn funny.
He did so good, bro.
So good. And I've seen Tony Hinchcliffe.
Was he the one that said that Kim K was worried because her kids were home with their dad?
No.
Who said that shit?
Brady did. Which made it fucking hilarious. I go, what a great joke.
Oh my god!
But dude, Tony Hinchcliffe has the best show on YouTube probably right now. I would argue probably one of the best shows.
That's the Kill Tony
period.
show, right?
The Kill Tony show is
I haven't heard it.
So damn funny. Kill Tony's so good, man. It's so good. It's live. It's such a good show, and I think it's going on tour. Like I think it's going at the Garden or something.
Oh, nice.
Phenomenal show, and he is not because he's not PC. And
but is he opening up for Andrew though? Or didn't he open up for Andrew? I thought maybe not.
No, he does open up for Joe Rogan on the road.
Okay,
because I saw Joe Rogan here, and he opened up, and he murdered. Like, really? Oh my god! And nobody knew who he was, and I knew who he was obviously because I'm a nerd when it comes to comedy stuff, but also you know, listening to Joe Rogan a lot and watching Kill Tony, and so I knew who he was. So I was excited to see him. He murdered, and the amount of people there who were like, who the fuck is this guy?
Right.
And he just went, and I think this was around the time that, I don't know if you remember where that condo building collapsed in South Florida.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes in on jokes, and this was like the week of, and they were so just out of pocket, but so damn funny. It was so good, man, and it made the room uncomfortable, and I love that. Like where people are like, "Fuck, should I be laughing at this?" Like I can't help it.
That's that Jesselnick shit.
Yeah, it was so good, man. And so I was glad to see guys like that. And I'm also, man, Nikki Glazer has been around for a long time.
I've never heard her. She
really
killed, bro.
Dude, Nikki Glazer has been around for so long. She's so funny. And I'm glad that she's finally getting her flowers. Like I saw her that whole week making her rounds on all kinds of TV shows. And I think
really?
She dropped her special. Yeah, like she was on Howard, which I know she's been on Howard in the past, but she went like Howard. She did a lot of mainstream stuff. She did a bunch of pods that week that people had her on who didn't realize she was like funny. Like Nikki Glazer's been a killer for so long. And so I was glad to see her in that sort of like on that stage with someone as famous as Tom Brady, where people were tuning in, and she finally got to sort of, because she's always been hilarious to me, because again she doesn't write her jokes, which makes her a fucking psychopath, but
she doesn't
she says she doesn't write any, she thinks about it, but she never writes it on paper. None of her jokes. So she just goes on stage.
Oh, so hold on. So she creates the joke. She doesn't write them.
She doesn't write them at all. She's doing some Jay-Z shit where she like knows what she wants to talk about and sort of where she's going with it. And according to her, she's never written her jokes down. Wow. She says it just doesn't work for her, which is more impressive.
Yeah.
But she's so damn funny. Like she had one of my favorite jokes where and I love the misdirection. And I'm glad on one of the podcasts she did afterwards, she talked about how who is it? One of these other comedians who's Jimmy Carr helped her write the joke. I think it was Jimmy Carr. She goes that she threw out. So these guys actually go, like for those that aren't familiar with this, they actually go to places like the Cellar or the Comedy Store and all that
to work it out,
to work out the roast jokes too. Like they actually go and work out the material.
Okay.
And so she said that when she was doing jokes, she ran a joke by Jimmy Carr, and he sort of gave her the idea of, and so the joke was at the time was she was like, oh, I want to take a minute to like say I have been in a relationship, with my boyfriend. I'm madly in love, 10 years, and she like points to her boyfriend in the crowd, whatever.
Okay, yeah.
And she goes to that, and then she goes, but I would shoot him in the fucking face for a lottery ticket to suck Tom Brady's dick.
Right.
And everybody loses their shit because it's like this sincere moment that she kind of sells, and she goes like, yo, Jimmy Carr gave me the idea, and I guess they were having like lunch or something. Her boyfriend's there, and she goes like, yeah, I want to do something like that, but it's my boyfriend, like I don't want to fuck with him like that, like. And Jimmy Carr goes, but what if you did something like really sincere where you call it this whole thing, but then you sort of like twist it in this thing. And then she's like, nah. And she goes like, and my boyfriend was like, no, that's funny, you gotta do it, like. And she goes like, really? He goes like, yeah, that's fucking hilarious. Like you have to do that. And so, the whole time she's hitting on like Tom Brady and the thing. But I'm so glad, man, because again, I've always found her so funny, and I'm glad that like there's a big audience there that saw her. Dude, Kevin Hart, man. And I know Kevin Hart's a veteran.
I was just going to talk about him.
I know Kevin Hart's been around for a long time, and Kevin Hart gets shit that he's lost his comedic chops or whatever. Kevin Hart was, again, like the best I have seen him in years in terms of like getting back to like comedy, like to just off the cuff, being he's dude, when you're a host of a show like that, there's a certain if you're a host of a comedy show, period, the host makes or breaks the entire thing. Like you think of Original Kings of Comedy, right? You remember Steve Harvey just as much as you remember Bernie Mac and D.L. Hughley, and Cedric, like being that host, man, is a big role because you have to set up the next guy and you have to make sure the guy before sort of gets his prop, and then you have to keep the audience sort of warm, and you got to be funny. Yeah. And Kevin Hart was so funny.
He was all of that.
And he was and he was not. I'm always worried that Kevin Hart's getting too big to be a great comedian, because there's like sponsors that you have to keep happy and corporate people that you have to keep happy and all this sort of thing. And just because of the climate that we're in, it's not a knock on Kevin. It's just like,
it is what it is.
He has a business and a company to maintain and people to employ and whatever. Yeah. But man, he was so good.
Yeah.
So impressive. In a live show, even he did something, I think Schultz talked about it on their podcast, where Gronk spikes the fucking shot glass and it shatters.
And then he doesn't fucking like, dude, when I watched him do that, I was like, man, why didn't you throw it like at least, because there was where the podium was, behind the podium, if he had just turned around and spiked it the other way, it would have probably been fine.
Yes.
But he spikes it and then I'm assuming that shit shatters
It does.
and fucking goes out to the crowd.
And it hits someone in the crowd.
It does hit
started
somebody.
bleeding, I guess.
Get the fuck out of
So
here.
it Schultz was like, man, so that's, I guess we don't see it in the taping of it if you watch the taping, but he goes like, yo, it's a long time of like, yo, are you okay with this girl? And there's people.
See, I didn't watch
to
it
her.
live, so
And I didn't either. I watched
okay.
but
and they
apparently
did
it's
cut
okay.
it down, by the way.
Yes, they did. So like, dude, as you know, if you're a host in comedy and some of that shit happens, just bringing up the next comedian while something like that is going on or
nice.
has just
Yeah, you
happened,
can't.
it's setting you up for fucking failure. You're doomed because you have to acknowledge that this shit's happening in the
Yep.
room. You have to do it in a funny way. And then you have to now bring this audience back from this experience that to them is like, oh fuck, it's completely removed them from the fun and the situation. And it's like, oh fuck, this chick's bleeding, this guy just spiked the thing, like whatever. Like, and I guess Kevin Hart does what like a good host does, man, which is like a good open mic host or a good host at any of your local comedy shows. Like he reels the audience back in. He like stays up there longer, you know, makes jokes, this stuff, kind of wins the room back. And then brings
he
up
brings
Andrew
him up.
Schultz.
Wow.
And Schultz was talking about that on his pod where he goes like, man, I was like, fuck. And then Kevin just kept kind of going. He didn't just like go, all right, Schultz, you're up next kind of thing. Like he fucking turned the room back around and then gets me up there. And by the time I go up there, everyone's sort of
Everybody's
forgotten about what's
calmed back
happening.
down.
They're calm.
Right.
And dude, I think that's something that's so important. And for someone at Kevin Hart's level to still acknowledge that and do that and set up someone, you know, one of his peers the right way, I thought was just dope to see, man. Because again, he could have just been like, all right, next up, and
Yeah.
you know, whatever. And he being sort of the veteran and the professional and all-time legend that he is, I think he understands what that would do to Schultz's set.
Yeah.
And to win that back for him, man, I'm like, man, that was one of my favorite things I've seen Kevin do.
And you only know that, right? Because, you know, like I said, you've done comedy. Like I didn't know that. But what I saw was what it reminded me of was just like, holy shit. Like, yeah, like all these guys are good. And there's a few acts in there where I go like, oh, that's very memorable. That's memorable. But Kevin Hart was memorable. And what it made me think of was like you mentioned earlier, Kings of Comedy. I'm like, that was Kevin's show.
Yes. Yeah. He took over. Yeah.
Like it was Kevin's show. And to have to go up there before and after everybody and still be lively and still be funny and still be witty and still hold the crowd and all of that. And then remember, you got to go up there after really good comedians and then really bad, you know, people that just can't.
Athletes.
Right.
Yeah. Dude, and to that point, to not try to not let his ego get in the way of someone who just murdered, like Nikki goes up there and murders, making fun of him.
Oh, no, he fucking gives her flowers.
And he gives her flowers. Dude, and I love that
Yeah,
they cut
bro.
to him and he's laughing the loudest and he's clapping and he's getting up and he's like, you know, and he's giving people their props. I'm like, you know, what a great just like I say, a good host, but just such a good gesture from someone who I know everyone on that stage is definitely looking to, like, yo, you're the
That's
guy.
the guy.
Like, we're all trying to be you. Like, and
Right.
for him to sit up there and then giving people a prop, man, yeah, it was so funny. Dude, I thought Brady was hilarious. I thought fucking Belichick was hilarious. I think
was
the
good.
fact that you don't get Belichick in that
Yes.
ever was cool. Because I'm like, man, we've never seen Belichick loose like that.
Yeah.
And even Randy Moss, where he's complaining about them not cheating while he was there. So good. I love the fact that Brady acknowledged the football thing,
Yep.
the deflated footballs. And same thing with Belichick. Like, I love the fact that they were just kind of like owned a lot of the bullshit or at least played with it. They weren't. And you could tell Brady, the only thing, and actually I thought that this was a Brady thing, but evidently the comedians decided this. You could tell that they were not talking about his kids by design. And I know when guys do this roast, they go, hey, these are the things you got to stay away from.
Right.
Like, I know when Bruce Jenner or what, I don't know,
Caitlyn
Jenner did
Yeah.
it, like, she had like things that they weren't allowed to talk about and, you know, whatever. So evidently Tom Brady's thing was only the Robert Kraft thing. And then the comedians decided we're
Dude,
going to
is
stay
that
away.
why in the beginning?
He goes up to Jeff Ross.
Yes.
And it gets uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah, bro.
So I didn't see it live, but he goes up there and he says something like,
Says, don't do that
shit again.
Yeah. Because that was the only thing. Because he goes like, yo, this guy's coming here to do this for me. it's an uncomfortable situation for him. You're not roasting him. Like, stay away. I guess he said, stay away from jokes. And Jeff Ross, and you should know this going into this, Jeff Ross always does the thing that people tell you to stay away from. But I think it's different when it's not live. They edit it out.
Right.
And so I think what the other comics are saying, they're like, yo, yeah, maybe it's Jeff being an asshole, but also he knows typically it gets cut out because of the final cut. And maybe he kind of lost sight of, yo, they're going to cut this out.
And it's live.
Or he's Jeff Ross. He doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
He's like, yeah, whatever. So,
dude, he's been doing that. He's been doing roast for I don't know how long.
He's the roast master. I mean,
yeah. Like I've been listening to that dude since like when I listened to Howard Stern back in the day.
Yes, man. So he's good, dude. And by the way, for Tom Brady to get up in the middle of a live show that you could just fuck up and go, yo, man,
don't do that shit again.
Don't do that shit again and sit back down. What a boss ass move, bro. Because I was like, yo, you could have ruined the show.
Yeah,
and
bro.
shit could just go down in flames.
As a matter of fact, when I saw him go up there, in my head I was like, is that real or is that him fucking around? But he does kind of go to his ear, but you can hear what he says.
Yeah, because there's a mic there, and then no, evidently that shit was real. And then the comics themselves said that when they met and they were like sort of coming up with stuff, they were like, "Yo, let's leave the kids out of it," because they were all kind of like, "Yo, that's,
makes sense.
It's kids, it's not fair, you know, whatever." But evidently Tom didn't give him anything other than the like, "Hey, don't just leave Robert Kraft alone."
Giselle was getting it.
Oh my gosh, she got all the smoke, bro.
But also, man, fucking Drew Bledsoe.
Yo,
I'm like, poor guy.
But Drew Bledsoe came out firing.
Yeah, he did.
That motherfucker, bro. He was one of my favorites, bro.
But dude, there was so many hits on him throughout the shit, man.
Oh my
I was
God.
just like, fuck,
dude,
man.
When he's fucking with Belichick though, when he goes like, at least somebody wanted me when I got fired. It's like, yo, what a great. And he looked like he was fucking annihilated.
Oh, by the end, bro. Oh my God, bro. I don't know.
Which I think is the other thing is like, yo, you got 3 hours of people just drinking and you're making fun of each other. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be phenomenal. So I'm like, I hope we never see another roast on anything but Netflix ever again, because it's so good. And listen, man, shout out to Tom Brady for being a good sport about that shit too, man. Because and I know he's come out since and said, you know, he regrets maybe a little bit of like the shit that his kids have to hear now or see. He didn't really think that part through. But
yeah, but like really, like when, right? Like how old are his kids? And then, and I don't need you to answer that, but like how old are his kids? And then really, like when are they gonna see that?
Yeah,
and then you figure as they get older, it's funny.
Yeah, and also I think that those kids have been used to their dad and their mom being in the spotlight for so long that they've heard it or seen it all at this point. Yeah, but Kevin Hart had some wild ass jokes about it. Yeah, if y'all haven't seen it, you guys gotta watch it.
Yeah, definitely.
So good, man.
Fuck, man, was that the carbon footprint?
I know. We're 20 minutes in, 22 minutes.
That was
in,
not, and that was off the cuff.
Footprint.
When you said this tequila was from Kevin Hart, it kind of brought that to my, you know.
Listen, that's why we don't have a script, bro. We just give ourselves ideas to do and go with it.
All right, man. What's the carbon footprint? Hit me with it.
Bro, my carbon footprint, it's a little selfish this week, actually, man. It's
You selfish bastard.
I know. Listen, I've been accused. You're not the first person to accuse me of that, or of having the commitment issue. So fuck you. All within a 22-minute span. God damn. But yeah, man, it's a little selfish. It's something I think is more impactful on my kids, man. So we took my kids, man, to see their first concert ever, and it was a cool opportunity because they both love this band, AJR. Okay. And you know, when you have kids, man, when they're young, you're looking for shit to listen to in the car that's sort of appropriate. Like I can't put on a Future song with my kids in the car all the time necessarily.
Is that where I went wrong?
So I do now, but there was a point in time where there's certain things like you're like, all right, we're trying to find music, whatever, and so we introduced them to AJR sort of earlier on because they were neat band to listen to. They do curse, but it's not like over the top, and it isn't usually like in a vulgar sense or whatever, right? And so anyway, they've been listening to AJR, both of them, for a long time. And so when I found out they were coming into town, I'm like, man, what a great opportunity for a band that they both like, and you could see their first concert together, whatever. Anyway,
I've never heard of these guys.
So they're a trio of brothers from New York.
Okay.
It's three brothers, and they usually have like a band. They'll have like a drummer and a trumpet player and a violinist and a bunch of other like random instruments, whatever the fuck they feel like putting together.
Okay.
They put together really like quirky music. Like the subject matter isn't necessarily like cool rock stuff. It could be, dealing with anxiety, or it could be, like everyday shit that we all think about, but no one would think to put in a song. It could just be sounds and noises that they just think sounds cool. They get it.
So it's a podcast with music.
Yeah, but they get like accused of like being like too show tuney or too like Broadway-esque or too.
Okay.
And it's cool because when you listen to their songs like in a car, yeah, a lot of them are catchy and all that, but you're like, it's almost like not the right space for them. And so, but when you see it in an arena, you're like, oh, this shit was made to be listened to like this with a bunch of people in an arena this big. It's like stadium music. It's so energetic and so freeing. Their lead singer, and I gotta, and this ties into the whole thing with my kids, but their lead singer, man, when he performs, the best way I could describe it is if you're home cleaning by yourself and you're having a concert, you put on some music and you're just sitting there, you're wilding out like nobody's watching.
Yep.
He performs like no one's watching him, where he just does the weirdest shit with his body and he's jumping around. And Post Malone reminds me of this. I seen Post Malone perform and he starts like dancing, and he's not a good dancer, but you can tell he's feeling it. Like, and it's just, and there's something so freeing and so fun.
Oh
and
my God, yeah.
Yeah, and their lead singer is like that. And he's on stage and he's just letting loose, and he just goes in, and it's almost like he forgets that there's an audience watching him do stuff.
He's back in Burning Man.
Yes, man. It's like a perfect description, man. He looks like he's tripping off shrooms somewhere, and he is just having the time of his life, and it's so freeing and it's so fun. And like, as someone like me who
that shit is contagious too.
It is, man. You start just jumping around about, and it's like, it really is catchy, man. And I think as someone like me who loves music for like what it can do to you, like, music is, can make you cry, can make you laugh, can make you happy, can make you hype, can make, like music, you could take it to go to the gym, people play it at funerals, people, there's like a spectrum of emotions that you can experience with music. Like, music is one of the only art forms that can take you from happy to sad, or from sad to hyped up, or from hyped up to like mellowed out, like, it's just, there's this range of emotion that you get with it. And so he has this very freeing way of performing that you're just like, wow, man, he's just in the moment, in the zone, whatever he's feeling, he's going through it, right? Anyway, phenomenal show. Just a spectacle. Like, I've seen a lot of shows that were great in my life, and all of them were great for very different reasons. I've been to venues maybe in Europe where just the venue itself or the background it was just jaw dropping, and it was really cool, and they were world class artists, and it was cool. And then I've seen people put on good shows. I've seen my favorite band, dude. I've seen Linkin Park, who I love, put on a show, and it was great, but it's Linkin Park and it's their instruments, and and they're doing their thing, and every song, and there's an emotional attachment there, and it's awesome. I've seen Jay-Z perform, I've seen Beyonce perform, and again, different levels, and it's a production that's just over the top ridiculous. These guys put on such a good show, from a production, from an audio, from a video standpoint, from like, they've got cameras that are showing like a POV of them, and they've got lasers doing stuff. They're doing shadow puppets. They're, disappearing and appearing on stage, and they're doing the Michael Jackson thing where they drop into the floor and they pop up on the top of the arena, and like, they're just all over the place doing fun shit, and then they're playing their own instruments. They're doing stuff, but that's not why I'm giving them this.
Yeah, how are the kids?
It was as a parent, there's moments in time where you watch your kids do shit and they're happy, and you're just happy that they're happy. And they were just ecstatic. They never sat down. And this is the whole arena. They never sat down from the first song to the last song. Like, they stood up. My daughter recorded the entire time. And every time they would stop a song, she would look over and she'd just have the biggest smile on her face as she's jumping. And same thing with my son. My son's like, and you've met my son, right? It takes a lot to get him excited. Stood up the whole time, sang, it was all over the place. But then there was a moment in the concert, man, where I'm trying to think. I can't think of the name of the song, but it's not even really important. They talk about how they had recently lost their father, and I'm gonna paraphrase here because I'm gonna forget the exact words. But they talk about how when their father was in their deathbed in the hospital, they sort of gathered around him and they were asking him for last sort of advice, like, Dad, like, what would you tell us to do now? And one of the things he said was that their dad told them, I'm going to paraphrase. I want to get their dad said, don't spend a minute of your life or a second of your life being anybody other than you. And then, and it was obviously like a good message, and they were like, yeah, and we took that, and they sort of went into sort of their journey as a band, because they are very different, they are very quirky, and so he said like, yeah, and so we went, we had this journey of when we were in high school as a band, kids sort of like made fun of us and didn't like what we were doing, and weren't necessarily like excited with what, we thought we weren't going to make it. And they, they talked about how they went when they were going sort of like meeting with record execs and labels, and the labels would tell them like, yeah, you guys are great, but how about we hire songwriters and we give you guys the songs to do and you guys just perform it, and all this other stuff. Anyway, but all that culminates into this moment where they talk about their dad, and then they go, so we don't want to spend another second being somebody other than who we are. And then he told them something like, and then find people who think how you think, who see the world the way you see the world, who, and then he sort of like looks at the audience, and he's like, so here we are, however many years later,
right,
with 10,000 people or whatever who see the world the way we see it. Yeah, and just go in. Yeah, and then he goes into this whole like, so fuck you record labels, fuck, just goes off. And I look over at my kids, and they're like teary-eyed.
Yeah.
Like and they're just jumping. Like every time the guy's like, fuck you, bullies. And my kids are just like raising their hand. But you could tell it just resonated with them.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just so cool from a concert that had this like, these peaks of like these super high highs to this like really emotional moment, and watching them go on that like roller coaster ride, and you can tell it like really affected them. And I was like, man, I don't know if 20 years from now they'll remember that show. I hope they will, hope they think, but
I would imagine so,
I think so, right? But I do know that their songs and their music has, and I think seeing them live did, and I think that, and they haven't stopped talking about it since. But I think in that moment you could see something where I'm like, oh, this was more than just music to you guys. Like these guys are really weird and really quirky and really themselves and really thing, and you see a little bit of yourself in that.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is why there was an attachment to these guys, right? Like, and it was so cool, man.
No, that's awesome.
So
man.
Shout out to those guys. And I would say, even if you're not a fan of AJR, if they're in your town, pay to go watch them. It's worth every penny. They put on a phenomenal show. The energy is amazing. You could tell the production is just over the top. This is their first, I think, arena tour, is what they said. And they've been doing it for a very long time. I think the guy said that they had been a band for over 15 years or something like that together. And this is their first arena tour. So, obviously, I don't know if that's short or long or whatever, but I thought that they would have done this sooner, just based on the fact that I've sort of known about them so long, but I guess not. And yeah, man, it's just there were so many cool moments in that show. That people were getting engaged in the audience and all that. But I that experience that my kids had, I'm like, wow, that's something I think that will forever resonate with them, hopefully. And then I could just tell that connection that they had, where you just go, oh, like I've had artists do that for me, where I could sort of, whether it's I could relate or I could feel less like, like we all think that maybe we're alone in certain ways that we think or certain ways that we feel or whatever, and you could tell that for them it was like, oh, this these people are at this level when they do this thing and they think how I think, and
right.
They feel how I feel. So
for me, man, like, and like you said, I think your kids will remember that forever. Will they remember the entire concert? Maybe not, but when they listen to AJR from here on out, mm-hmm. they're gonna think back to that. For me, like you said earlier, man, music not only takes you through emotions, but takes you back to where you were, or what was going on in your life when you heard this song.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what music's been like for me throughout my life, man, where I can listen to songs from fucking 20, 30, 40 years ago and know like exactly where I remember hearing that and what I was doing and how I was feeling and like everything like that. Music does that for me. And so I could definitely like say for your kids, bro, that's going to be something that they may not remember every detail of the concert, but they're going to remember how they felt. They're going to remember, what they were experiencing at that moment. And like I said, you created that for them. So take a bow, bro. Like I said, we do shit and we just go like, it's just concert tickets. but it's not. It's not just concert tickets. It's an experience that you guys will probably talk about forever.
Yeah, man. I really, when I saw the opportunity, I do remember thinking like, man, what are the odds that they both like the same band, they get to see it together, getting a chance to be there as a parent with them for that, right?
Because and with the age difference, it's a boy and a girl. The age difference, that's
and most kids go as teens with their friends to their first show, which if it would have been that, fine, that's cool. But it was like, oh, I like these guys too, like we all do, like and so just getting to share that experience was amazing. And like going back to what we were saying about music, it's so funny, man, so weird because like I've obviously just been passionate about music my whole life, and now like they'll give me crap and then they'll get sucked into stuff because like I'll go from playing Frank Sinatra to playing Run the Jewels to Roddy Ricch to fucking Reba McEntire. Like I'll listen to it all, like I don't okay, and it's cool to see them sort of have this like really wide range of tastes in music right now too, because it's so again, like you said, music just can take you back to a moment in time, can take you back to a holiday, can take you back to, being in a car with your friends, whatever it is. And it's just such a wide range, it's such a wide different emotion. And it's all, I wouldn't say music is all good, but the intentions behind them are always like an artist trying to create, for whatever reason. And so even the songs you don't like, man, come from the same place that's right, that the one that you did. So
and they resonate with somebody.
And they do. Yeah. So so shout out to those guys, man. That was a little selfish because it was more of an impact on my kids that I hope it would be, lifelong. But and also I would say impact for me, man, just getting to see their reaction is something that I found myself watching them a lot during the show because I was enjoying watching their sort of reaction to the show. Yeah. And I found myself like staring at them a lot, just like, kind of like, oh, this is cool, worth, like you said, worth concert tickets and whatever else. Like it was just like, this is so cool. I'd do this a million times, just awesome, to see that reaction. So yeah, it was cool.
That's awesome, man. Good for you guys. Like I said, that's a lifelong memory. Yo, man, I know you don't watch women's basketball. Yes, you know where I'm going with this. I text Juan the other day, so for those of you guys and girls who have been paying attention to sports, Caitlin Clark got drafted number 1, started her WNBA career. WNBA season started this week. I think it was on Tuesday. We are recording now on a Wednesday, and I think ESPN signed some deal where they're gonna televise like all her games.
Oh, are they?
It's something like that.
I thought it was something because of how the game sold. Then they were kind of forced to fuck, we have, because originally it wasn't gonna air on ESPN, right?
Well, I don't know about that, but so. It was. She plays for the Indiana Fever. Yeah. And they were playing against the Phoenix Suns. I believe that's what it is. Okay. I believe it's what the team's name is.
Is it Connecticut Suns? Is there two Suns? No. There might be two Suns in the WNBA. You might be right. I think there's two teams with the same name in the WNBA. Yeah.
I think it was the Phoenix team. Yo, sellout.
It's awesome. In Indiana or in
no.
Phoenix?
In the away.
Which you figure she's gonna sell out probably unless like 10 games in she's awful. She's gonna sell out probably every away game.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Just based on her popularity.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's kind of like we talk about things that are impactful, and not for nothing, like she didn't play well. She had fucking 10 turnovers. Damn. I think she scored like 20 points. But they ended up
20 points still.
But they ended up losing by 20.
Okay.
So their team got.
Dude, did she get everyone's best shot though?
And that's what I want. Yes. So here's my thing, man. So I go like, here's a woman who comes into the league, high expectations, obviously, number 1 pick, is making what do we say? About $84,000 a year. Now she got endorsement deals in the $20 million range, right? So she's doing fine monetarily.
Mm-hmm. By the way, not to cut you off, the $84,000 a year as a percentage of revenue, the WNBA players make more money of the team's revenue, of the league's revenue, than the NBA guys do. Oh, I believe and I understand that people want them to get paid more and all that. They'll get paid more when they draw more,
when they draw more
revenue.
viewers.
When they draw more viewers, which create more revenue. So, but right now, as a percentage of the revenue that the team generate
Of
and
the
the
business,
league generates, they actually get more than NBA guys do.
Oh, wow.
So
Well, that just goes to show you that.
it just goes to show you how little revenue the
doesn't fucking
WNBA
make
pulls
any
in.
money.
Yeah. I'd say that to say, like, it's not that they don't want to pay them. Like,
Right.
It's that they don't. You have to have a viable product. It's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah. And not for nothing, right? If somebody like Caitlin Clark comes into the league, love her or hate her, but she's selling out arenas.
Yeah, you have to love that.
Then if you are a fan of women's sports and women getting paid more and all of that, then you root for her.
Dude, and I saw whoever the MVP is complaining of the WNBA and somebody else complaining about the attention she's getting. And it's like, shut the fuck up.
Shut up.
You should be so happy.
Yes.
This is what your league needs.
You need it.
And then you should go take this opportunity, seize it. And then when you play against her, go off. But be grateful that you're getting eyeballs because she's going to be the reason why you inevitably make more money. And yeah, you can be mad that it wasn't you, or you could say, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
you
like
can call
I'm
out your
better
stats.
or whatever. Right.
At the end of the day, no one's watching you, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
they're watching her for
and,
whatever reason.
And the other thing too, man, was that there was another woman player on there, and again, like I don't remember who the player was, but the player was doing well, and the U.S. amount of hits that this person was getting on the internet, like exponentially rose. Because eyeballs are on the game, and then they're going, and now people who don't normally watch are going, well, who the fuck is this person? Let me look this person up. And like to your point, it's like if you are the MVP of the league or whatever, and nobody knows you, but now they do because you're playing against this woman, you know, this newbie. You know,
yeah, you just need that person to get the eyeballs over.
That's right.
And then you seize that moment when people come see you. Yeah. It's up to you.
And I do feel like you said, I think she's getting. I think that the game is a little bit faster. I think obviously the players are all really good.
Yeah, of course.
And so she's gonna have to adjust her game.
Yeah, and she'll be fine. You know, dropping 20 in a debut is still 20 points is fucking hard in a professional basketball game. Yeah. You know, WNBA or not. 20 points is hard in a rec league game and a college men's
in a YMCA.
Game. Yeah, it is. Fucking 20 is hard, bro. Like I think we are so used to seeing great players that put up, you know, average, 26, 27, whatever, and 8 rebounds and 5, assists or whatever, that it seems normal. It's not really hard to do that. And if she does that in her debut, like you said, the other thing that Caitlin Clark is going to have to adjust to is that because she's a rock star, she's going to get everyone's best shot.
Yep.
People are going to hate her. They're going to want to prove a point. They're going to, there's going to be the sort of like, you don't belong here, or there's going to be the jealousy aspect. And so she is getting.
And the fact that she's white, I mean, let's adjust the elephant in the room, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes it worse for her in a predominantly black league.
Yeah, because people want to make it's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. People wanted to make a big deal about her shoe contract, saying like, whoever the MVP is for the WNBA didn't have a shoe deal. That she should have a shoe deal. Or that. And I'm like, I don't know who she is.
I don't know who she is.
No, she shouldn't have a shoe deal. And I don't not know who she is because she's black. I don't not know who she is because she's just not popular enough. Like, this, the fact of the matter is like, I know who LeBron is. I know who Steph Curry is. I know who plenty of black NBA players are. I don't know who this woman is in WNBA, who's the MVP. And, whatever, you could say shame on me or whatever. I just don't watch. And so I don't care. But I know who Caitlin Clark is because for whatever reason, whether it's the media pushing her down my throat, whether it's her game, whatever, I know who she is. And that's where, if you're trying to sell shoes, you're gonna sign the player who people know who she is. Like, it's just like the economics of that is baffling.
Attention is the currency, man.
Exactly. And it's like they try to turn that into a race thing of like, oh, it's because she's white. It's
it's not.
No. In professional sports, every athlete we've ever looked up to for my entire lifetime has been a black person. Like, it's fucking mind-boggling that we're having that conversation about a girl, about like, oh, it must be because she's white. It's like, have you not been watching sports for the last 3 decades? Because everyone we've idolized has been a black person. Like, everyone.
Yeah, and it hasn't been in the last 3. It's been like the last fucking 5 decades.
Yeah, pretty much since fucking Jackie Robinson decided to play Major League Baseball. It's been downhill for the white folks ever since. So let them have a win. Damn.
No, man, but I'm pulling for her, man. Like I said, I think maybe I've watched part of a WNBA game, and I'll be honest, I didn't watch the whole game of this either because the Knicks were on about a half hour to an hour later.
You mean entertaining basketball?
Fucking playoff NBA basketball.
It is unfortunate that they start during the NBA playoffs. They should just alternate nights or something like that, maybe.
Dude, either that or just do it after the NBA finals or something.
Or it should be the halftime show for the playoffs.
Like the chick on the unicycle that does the teacups.
That does. I'm not helping my case here.
No, you're not,
not
bro.
being misogynistic.
Dude, staying with basketball, Gilbert Arenas.
Dude, Gilbert, bro, has made more noise post-career. Oh, man.
And this story is not about him firing a gun.
No?
Right? Wasn't the thing about him, wasn't it back in the day he had something with
he had
with
guns in the locker room and shit?
That's what it was.
Listen, man, he was John Moran before John Moran, yo. Y'all forget Gilbert did it first.
And then recently he had some comments, I guess, on the podcast about Rudy Gobert missing a game to go see the birth of his child.
Yeah.
This is neither one of those. Gilbert Arenas.
Oh no! This is where I thought you were going.
Is a hero to a lot of men.
Okay.
And it is because he bought a ring for his former girlfriend.
Okay.
$400,000.
Wait, $400?
$400,000
for an engagement ring.
For an engagement ring.
Okay.
When he gave it to her, they broke up 8 days later.
Days later?
Days.
Okay.
Then they made up. So everything was supposedly good, whatever. Well, during the makeup, he ends up, they made up, and then they end up breaking up again. Well, during the makeup, he switched the ring out for a fake one.
Oh, that looked identical?
Yeah. And then he took the ring back.
So he got his money
and
back.
got his money back.
And he gave her like a cubic zirconia.
And he gave her something else.
Okay.
Well, I guess somewhere on the line, she find out.
Got upon that shit.
And she sued him. And she lost.
Well, yeah, of course she should lose. That scumbaggery going on the whole way around here.
Yes, I agree. But it just begs the question of just like, I don't think an engagement ring is a gift.
No, and it varies by state. So
so if there's laws around this?
There's absolutely laws.
Oh, okay, great. So, enlighten me.
So in certain states, and I forget the exact terminology for it, but if you do have a breakup or whatever, then that you can get the engagement ring back.
Okay.
And then in certain states, it's theirs because you gifted it to them.
It's a gift.
Yeah.
That's not a fucking gift.
So I don't know where he did this, but I'm guessing that whatever state that was, or maybe he didn't even bother to check, but he couldn't get it back because it was considered a gift, and so maybe he swapped it out somehow. And
he's like, "Well, I still gave her a gift."
Yeah, maybe that's what made her decide to sue. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does it matter if you take it back during it? Can they sue you for it back? I don't know. I don't know what the rules are behind that.
Right.
But I do know that the engagement ring thing is
out.
a very common thing because, obviously that's an extreme, 400,000. But dude, for an average guy, if you spend even 4,000 or 10,000 or 20,000, whatever, like that's a lot of money. And then if you break up 8 days later,
dude, would you spend that? What's your cap?
Oh, that's a tough one because so there's rules behind like what it should be. It should be like your salary times X, right?
No.
That's what it is, though, right? Like,
no.
There's this tradition of what it should be.
No.
You said no.
Yeah, no. No, it's what I want to fucking buy. That's the way that I feel.
What I want to fucking buy.
Dude, I feel like it's like the same thing like with, like church, right? And I don't know, right? Church goes, they have the whole tithes thing. And it's like, it's supposed to be 10% of your salary. No, it's what I want to give.
I don't disagree with that, but I would say that I guess I don't have a number in mind. It's what I want to get you and what I think you'd like. I don't know that has a limit. I mean, obviously, there's limits to like it being unreasonable. But,
Right. So
but yeah, like is 10,000 unreasonable to me? No.
Is 30?
I don't think so.
You had to
Yeah,
think
I don't
about
know.
that.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. But again, I think
You don't think it's unreasonable?
No, I don't.
Yeah, nah, fuck that. Listen,
I don't know, man.
listen. Anybody out there?
Again,
go ahead, marry one. Don't come after. Don't come
fuck
after
y'all.
me.
Don't be coming my way for no.
Don't be coming after me.
I think it's circumstantial, right? Like I think, and there's also the how it's received, right? Like I think if you expect a $30,000 ring, I'm probably less likely. But I'm very much a person who shops and looks for something, and then I don't check, and then I find out it's 30 grand, and I'm like, fuck. But then I'm going, but I really like this, and so
that I understand.
And so the price tag wouldn't deter me if I really liked it and I really thought that you would like it. It isn't something that would deter me because I'm like, no, but I really feel like you would like this. And so I get attached to what it means to me versus the price tag. Now, like, if you're talking it's like a couple $100,000 or whatever, and I'm going to put myself in debt to do it, like, probably not. But again, there's a reasonability there. But I don't know. I don't think that I have a number per se. I don't know.
There's definitely like, again, the whole thing of it should be X percentage of your salary.
Yeah, that's a
fucking ploy.
Listen, I'm gonna look it up right now. I'm gonna look it up right now. There is a thing.
It's a fucking ploy by the jeweler retailers, man. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
By Zales.
Yeah. And fucking what's the other one? What's the other one? The pricey one that's around here? Doesn't matter.
International Diamond Center.
No, not that one. There's another one. I can't remember.
Oh, wait,
but yeah, dude. Like I would think, I'm more in line, I guess, with like your thinking, right? Where I go, I'm gonna go and I would look for something that I really like, that I think the person would really like. But I will say, if it had a $30,000 price tag on it, I would be like, yeah, bro. Show me what else you got,
dude. I really wish I could find it. Okay, so this one's not that bad. Someone here says you should spend between 1% and 2% of one's annual income. Many couples choose to spend 5 to 9% of their annual income on a ring. But there's I
could see the 5 to 9%. Yeah. That I can see.
Yeah. But then that puts us in the conversation of earlier of does 10, 20, 30, then suddenly it becomes reasonable, right? Like at 9% for some people, like then the 30 is a really reasonable number.
Again, depending on how much you make.
Yeah, right. So I do think that matters too. Like if you're asking someone who makes, say, I don't know, $100K a year to buy you a $30,000 ring.
Yep.
Might be out of pocket or even a $10,000 ring. But if you're asking someone who makes $100,000 a year to buy you a $2,000 ring or a $5,000 ring, I don't think it's that. I don't know.
No, that's probably fine.
I think, to me, honestly, it's the gall of asking for something at a price
maybe
level
it's the
anyway. That's what it is. It's the expectation.
Yeah, maybe it's
because me, I don't,
or lack thereof. Right?
Yes.
I think as a woman, if you don't have the expectation of, I'm gonna get and we'll stay with the $30,000 ring, right? I'm gonna get that. Then, I'm more inclined to spend more on you if I think that there's not an expectation for me to do it.
Correct. I think that's more of where I'm at, is like the expectation of something will be off-putting to me. It will turn me off from wanting to do something that I wanted to do as a gesture, because my original thought would have been, I want to get something that you really like, right?
I want to get something that I like, something that I think that you will like.
But we've all met women who are like, if it's not this, then don't even come to me. It's like, automatically.
I'm not coming to you.
I'm not coming. Yeah. Like, that's automatically extremely off-putting to me. And listen, I understand having standards or expectations or whatever, but I think the minute you try to tell me what to spend on you for something,
right,
it's like, it makes me question sort of your commitment, I guess, to the person in general.
Or your motives.
Exactly. So, man.
Shout out Gilbert
Arenas. That's wild. Yo, and the fact that she didn't notice, shout out to whoever made him the ring, the custom bootleg ring, because he probably spent a couple grand on that thing too to make it look exactly like the real one.
Shit was a bargain.
She didn't notice, right? Like, it's crazy. Bro, I'm just picturing Gilbert Arenas in the middle of the night, like trying to slide the ring off his girl's finger, and she keeps waking up. You know, like those comedy movies where you gotta get, and she's like covers it, you know, with her pillow and shit, and you gotta like work harder to get it off. Oh man, what a time, bro! Gilbert's been a wild boy. Gilbert's given us more headlines post NBA career than he gave us during his NBA career, man.
Does he have a podcast?
I think so.
Or was he on somebody else's? I didn't know.
Ooh, that's a good question. I think he does have a podcast because I see him a lot on shit lately. And he's like Paul Pierce, man. He's very entertaining because they forget that they're supposed to be acting like corporate.
Dude, was Paul Pierce the one recently on?
Was smoking a joint on live or
so he said the N-word on
was
that Paul Pierce
on Fox Sports
on
during Skip's show.
Yeah, that's it. What is that shit called? First Take?
No, nobody knows anymore because he lost shit. Nobody gives a fuck about Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless got to be kicking himself in the ass right now.
What's it called? No,
Undisputed.
That's it.
Yeah. Skip Bayless got to be kicking himself in the ass. Skip Bayless might as well have us on there and he'd have better ratings. What a trash ass show.
Does he even have like a regular?
I think he tried Richard Sherman and that hasn't worked, and then he does Michael Irvin all the time. And now dude, he did Paul Pierce.
Too many alpha. And when he needs to just have one other like alpha, I guess, personality.
I wouldn't even call it alpha. Because I don't. It's not even, those are dominating personalities, but I think they're dominating personalities that aren't necessarily, I think what worked against Skip Bayless is when you had people that could sort of compete on an intellectual level. You know, like Shannon Sharp could compete with Skip Bayless on an intellectual level and with the stats and all that stuff to back it up. I think what he's done is he's put in too many guys there that try to sort of beat it with more of the loud dominating the room, screaming thing versus the let me stick to the facts here and give you the numbers to back up.
Dude, I wonder if he regrets letting him.
He has to, bro. Dude, Shannon Sharp has the biggest podcast right now.
Who the fuck are these guys?
Shannon Sharp has 2 podcasts now that are at probably top 20 or what. I don't know. I gotta look at the thing, but I love watching Nightcap, and I love his Club Shay Shay, and then he's on
ESPN,
Stephen A. Smith shit, and then so good for Shannon Sharp, man. He turned that opportunity.
We knew he would be. We knew he would be fine.
He was the entertaining part of that, but he also offset Skip Bayless really well. I think the best thing Skip Bayless probably could have done was bring in somebody like a JJ Redick, and then somebody like a JJ Redick and maybe Draymond, something like that, because Draymond.
But he needs somebody to talk football.
Yeah. That's very true.
Because he is a big football fan, and he's a Cowboys fan. So I feel like he needs somebody. He needed a football guy in there. Shannon, man, to me that was the best guy.
Yeah, man. But, he's rolling out there with fucking Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce had me dying because he was on a like a live stream once. Yeah, and he's like offering Kevin Garnett like a joint, and he's not realizing that they're already live. And it's the funniest shit to watch. Kevin Garnett's trying to like tell him without like, and he's like looking at the thing like
red light, bro.
And then Paul Pierce is like, well, bro, and he's talking wild. He's talking like he would if the cameras were off. And it's funny as fuck, bro. Because I'm like, oh man, because wasn't he the one that got fired because of the video with the strippers in the poker game?
He definitely got fired for something that he was doing.
He was smoking weed with like a bunch of strippers, and he had a poker game at like his house. Yeah, and I think somebody posted a video of it, and he got.
Dude, too bad, man. When you're in the spotlight like that, like, you just can't do shit that most people would just do and not worry about.
Yeah, smoking weed with hookers and putting poker, you figure that's a Monday for an NBA guy. Yeah, that is kind of weird. Or strippers. I shouldn't. What did I say? Did I say hookers or strippers? Whatever I said.
Whatever they are.
Yeah.
All right, man. What you want to get into next, bro?
Dude, there's been so many wild ass stories the last few weeks. The one with the Boeing people is the one that's super crazy and out of pocket to me right now.
Dude, is Boeing like low key
murdering motherfuckers?
U.S. government?
You mean
the fucking U.S. KGB?
You mean, bro? They've been there've been 2 whistleblowers, right? Who have died recently that were tied to this Boeing whistleblower case, right? So we had. I'm gonna pull up the stories now that we had recently because we had some insane ones. with so there's two. So Joshua Dean, he's a former quality auditor at Boeing, at a Boeing supplier actually called Spirit Aerosystems, and he turned into a whistleblower. He died last week after like a sudden illness he had, and then a couple months before that, less than 2 months actually, John Barnett was found dead of an apparent gunshot wound, self-inflicted, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And these guys have all been, if you guys haven't been following, there's been all these like stories about behind Boeing. You know, you've seen the Supermax jet or whatever it's called. A lot of those have had issues where they've fallen, where they've crashed, or they've potentially crashed.
Yeah, or shit's falling off.
Or whatever. They've had all these issues. And these guys are saying that there are quality control things at Boeing
was
they
aware
knew
of,
about,
right? Yeah.
And they sort of like, you know, try to sweep under the rug and yada yada. And that these guys are going to them going, yo, there's an issue here, like we should look into this. And Boeing was kind of like, fuck off, like, you know, they were trying to cut corners and save money,
Right.
And these guys, man, and there's an actual case right now against these whistleblowers, or no, sorry, there's an actual case going on right now because of these whistleblowers, and now they're suddenly dying under sort of mysterious circumstances, even though, full disclosure, there hasn't been any foul play or whatever, but that they've sort of charged anyone with, or they have found evidence of. It's just really, really coincidental that these guys have all suddenly a perfectly healthy guy seemingly just gets.
And
I forget what it is.
And another one guy, like he retired.
Yeah.
Right, he retired. Then kind of became,
blows his brains out.
Then became the whistleblower, and then blows his brains out. Yeah,
and then the same lawyer represented both guys, by the way. And now he's saying that he has 10 other people who are going to be whistleblowers who are not afraid to come out. They're still willing to come out.
Yeah.
But you got to be worried, right? Like,
yeah, hell yeah, dude.
Bro, if you're
a lawyer, you better be worried.
You're like, bro, I didn't realize we were going up against Hillary and Bill. Or you got to be concerned, bro. It's fuck, man. It's one of the largest corporations in the world.
Dude.
It's a potentially debilitating financial, a hit for Boeing.
Yeah.
A reputational hit.
And it's not just, I mean, they do commercial stuff, but they also do military stuff,
applications.
man.
Absolutely.
And the what do they call it, man? The industrial military complex. Like that's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
For when we talk about like the wars around the world, like when we say, oh, we're sending X amount of money to Ukraine to support them in the war, it's not necessarily cash donations to Ukraine. It's money to companies like Boeing and Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin, right? So like that they can develop weapons or not donate, but give planes and weapons and all of that. So it kind of keeps the American economy running too. But like you said, man, that's big business, man, and don't fuck with the big business, man.
Listen, man, people,
you better just retire and shut the fuck up.
All kinds of wild shit for money, and we don't know what's going on here, but it's kind of coincidental that a perfectly healthy guy has a mysterious illness.
Dude, do you think that if you worked for a company that was doing some unethical shit and you retired, so you're collecting a pension, is it fucking with your conscience enough for you to make noise?
I'm gonna say no. That sounds bad, but I don't know. I think it depends.
Morally, yes. It sounds bad.
It sounds bad, but I
agree, bro.
I just don't think I am.
Because I'm going like I don't want to fucking deal with that.
I don't want to deal with it. Also, I think it depends on the gravity of the situation. It's like, is the thing that they're doing killing children, right? Like, do I know that Crest is making a toothpaste aimed at kids that we know is going to give these kids cancer when they're teens? Probably, I would say something, right?
Yeah.
That I know if Boeing's cutting corners, unless a plane is falling every other week, probably don't. I don't want to say that I don't care, but I don't want the stress that comes with being a whistleblower, and that I'm like, I just want to move on with my life. I don't know that I care enough. It's like, it's fine. It isn't catastrophic all the time, whatever. Like, I don't know. I want to say I probably wouldn't give a fuck.
Dude, I'll leave it in your will.
Yeah. By the way,
yeah.
Motherfucker Bobby at Boeing ain't been checking none of them parts.
And then you can fucking curse me after I'm dead.
Matter of fact, they procured all that shit from Temu. Bowen got doors from DH Gate. just, bro, I don't know that I give a fuck enough. But I'm also, and I realize this isn't normal when I talk to other people. Like, I also don't give a fuck about a lot of stuff that apparently other people do. And I don't know if that comes with I have too much stuff to give a fuck about, but like, they're just, I don't know, man. I just don't get as worked up about certain things.
I got shit to do.
Yeah, and I'm just not a moralist about certain things like that. Like, I just don't. I'm not the like. I guess I'm not the like moral police when it comes to a lot of shit like that, because I realize that we're all capable of just doing fucked up stuff. Yep. Or like, so I don't know. I just don't. Yeah, nothing moves me to that extreme where I feel like I need to be a whistleblower. I don't know. Maybe I just haven't met the right thing yet. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think like you said, I think if it's something like if it's kids related, I would probably feel
that I couldn't walk away from.
Right, I'd probably feel differently about that. But yeah, if a couple of doors on the plane flying off, man, and yeah,
like the dudes making Roundup, they knew that shit was giving people mesothelioma. But did they say something?
I still don't know what mesothelioma is.
Like, man, me neither. But I know
is it like cancer?
It's a cancer.
It is a cancer,
that you
right?
get from fucking weed killer, and evidently it was in Roundup. But allegedly,
you get it from that? Don't you get it from fucking asbestos? And I don't know.
Is it mesothelioma you get from asbestos, or is it another one?
It's cancer.
That's a good question. Cancer. So
I don't know. I could be wrong.
A lot of people knew about that shit and they ain't say nothing. Bro, you're going to tell me there's some of this stuff too that I go, it's kind of obvious. Like some of these chemical plants and all that stuff is like, bro, were people working like coal mines and then they sue years later because their lungs are like, they get black lung or whatever and all that stuff. It's like, bro, you inhaled that shit for 20 years, 30 years and you thought that shit was going to be okay. I could have told you day one. You ever been around a dog that gives you allergies, bro? It don't take like 6 minutes. Like, why wouldn't you think that being around coal for 20 something years, like the fact that you go home covered in soot and the black stuff wasn't fucking like, I don't know, clue number one, that like this is probably inside of my body. This can't be great. I use this shit to barbecue. It can't be good, bro. Like, it's just weird. I don't know. Not to say that. I think, and this is where like I feel like the United States has gotten crazy with all these lawsuits and all that stuff, because we have sort of removed human accountability from the equation of a lot of shit, where we're in this like litigious society that just sues people all the time, where it's like, oh, well, I didn't know that the sun was gonna fucking give me cancer. It's like, you didn't know sitting outside and your skin started bubbling, you didn't think like, oh, this is a fucking terrible idea.
Yeah, or you sit outside for too long and then the next day your fucking skin hurts and it's fucking peels and
it's really weird. Like, we're in this weird place where we want freedom, but then also we sue people for not saving us from ourselves. Like, it's a really fucking bizarre
dude. And not for nothing, man. I know you watch TV, bro. Every other commercial is a fucking drug commercial.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, all those drugs, they go like, here are the 50 side effects that you could have, and including death.
Yeah.
It's insane, bro.
But your anus won't bleed anymore. So worth the trade-off. It's really bizarre, man, because we expect the government or corporations and all that shit to save us from ourselves, or we blame them for
They're trying to make money, man.
And it's just weird. They're all cash grabs, so it's hard to take serious.
The best one is, and I don't even know what the fuck the drug is, but it's one for women get hot flashes after they when they reach like the menopause age, they get more hot flashes. Okay. There's a drug for that. One of the side effects, hot flashes. I was like, what the fuck?
Warning, you might feel the same.
Warning, it might not work.
It might not.
Or warning, it might make your condition worse.
Can you imagine? Take some shit from hot flashes and then you...
Yeah, how we doing on time, bro?
We're over an hour. We're hour 8.
God damn it!
What you got? Why you got a lot? We could do speed rounds. What's up?
You wanna end with we gotta talk about this. And this is an old one, actually.
Okay.
It came up on my feed, and I have to show you the video because it's fucking great.
Okay.
There's a woman back in 2017, so this is what, fucking 7 years ago?
Okay.
She gets arrested for being a fake sign language interpreter. I gotta pull this up.
Yo, that shit is so funny because I'm just picturing what the kind of shit you would do if you were like. I'm trying to think about what my immature ass would do posing as a sign language interpreter.
Look at this chick.
And the actual interpreter would
Grab that phone, because with me and you watching, shit looks legit. So there's a Florida woman back in 2017, Darylyn Roberts, caught signing like just fucking absolute garbage during like a
it's garbage. That shit looks legit.
It is legit.
I'm like, damn, this bitch got it going on. She keeping up.
Dude, we gotta do something where on the video
we gotta layer that.
Show it, man.
Okay,
yeah.
I gotta figure out a way. Okay,
so it's absolute fucking gibberish, but she's so good.
dude, it looks fine.
It looks legit.
Unless you're someone.
Unless you know sign.
And then how would you tell people? You know, the reason this story is just coming up is because for years someone has been like, if you're only listening to us, I was signing my ass off and shit that don't make no sense.
Shit look legit, bro.
It look legit though, right?
I'm pretty sure you said fuck you to me or something, man.
Bro, you know, it took someone a long ass time to be like, yo, you know, she ain't signing shit, right? And then no one would listen to them. They'd be like, you only know American Sign Language. That's a different.
Bro, so this is a fucking. It was in Tampa, and it was she was interpreting for this police chief in Tampa, and he was announcing like the arrest of a suspected serial killer. And she's over there fucking signing just garbage.
She was
So the people that are hearing impaired didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Why is she talking about cradling a baby and jingle bells? And
that's not even a letter.
That's not even what's that? Ooh, that's a new one. That must be slang in Tampa. Yo, that's fucking crazy. She's just making shit up. Yo, I wonder how long she got away with that shit for, because she's not young. She's an older lady. You imagine for years she's been getting away with.
Well, that's the thing. So I think she's been arrested for other like con artist shit.
Oh, so this
over
is like
the years.
her shtick.
Yeah, this is like her thing.
Any of them with sign language?
No, this is the one. This is the one with sign language.
Yo, you gotta respect her hustle though.
Dude, you really do, man. And when and if you don't know sign and you see this video of this woman, yo, it looks legit.
It looks legit. I watch that shit. I'm like, what's wrong?
I just ignore her like I do all the other ones.
Yeah, I never pay attention to them in the first place.
Yeah.
Although the ones at the rap concerts be awesome. You ever seen the sign language?
I have.
They're so dope, bro. The whole time. That shit looks offensive, but it's so dope. They're throwing up gang signs the whole time. It's fucking awesome. Yo, this fucking Florida, bro. Every single time.
You gotta love it, bro.
You gotta love it, bro. It's probably the only public employee in the Tampa Police Department that's black too. And she had to fuck it up.
Yo, and on that, tell them where they can find us.
At the Carbon fucking not signing for the Tampa Police Department. At the Carbon Podcast on IG, at Carbon FP Pod on X, the Carbon or at Carbon Podcast on TikTok, and the Carbon Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and then everywhere where you get your audio music podcasts from. So Audible, Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, GeoSavving, Ghana, Pocket Chaser, fucking Tune In, you know, all of them. I think they're dwindling down now, though. There's only so many. Yeah, there's something called Deezer that we're on too, but I think, you know, all the big boys are trying to take over. So, you know, find us on Amazon. And if all else fails, tell Siri or your smart device at home, your Alexa or your Google Home to play us, and they will. It's kind of cool. I do that shit all the time just to make sure it works. Yeah. It's fucking hilarious. I can't get enough. It's hilarious.
I gotta try it, man.
It's wild. You know those things where you're like, I can't believe this shit works. Where you tell like, oh, Alexa, play the Carbon Food Podcast, and then it starts playing like whatever our latest episode is, and I just sit there like, oh shit,
we on.
It's awesome.
Or we're still on.
Yeah, it's still. Yeah, we're still on. It still makes me trip out, and then I'm like, someone at some point is gonna pull us off, right? You can't keep letting us do this shit.
That's right. All right, man, and I'm going to leave y'all with this, something that you said earlier in the show. I wrote it down. It was the advice from one of the AJR family members that was passing away. Don't spend a minute of your life being anything other than you. And we appreciate you guys. Man. And we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Peace.
Peace.